Thank you.
Sure. Very common.
Right. They are. Yeah. You learn it. Not just off that first grade. I didn't know that. Yeah.
Well, it was cold inside.
It's not about reading. It's not about
Good day, sir.
Yeah, he was there like he was
very appreciative.
but it works for you. I guess you're going to the Pearls meeting.
I'm learning myself a note, very last. Bring salt and pepper, you raw. The dudes.
Say,
Very young. Mr. Pipes. I call you Pipes. You're kidding me.
I need a Walmart over here. Yeah. It ain't that big. No, I got plenty of
Do we need to test the audio from this? Yeah, I start thinking about it. Just run it to that slide where the video is and make It's coming through so we can adjust it. I've got it all the way up.
Cool. Thank you. Here, I'll give you that back.
Hey, how's it going?
Good day, sir. Good.
There's one house around, there's right on the golf course, so we're comparing our golf Maybe with the residents. People were complaining about, oh, because people would play ball, everything like that. Well, here's the group, netting like you're down.
Hi, guys. Well,
It's man, we're just passing out. I've got all kinds of stuff to pass out. What's that? I want to do a thank you card for. I'd like to know. We got $1,200. Pass that. Pass that out. Then I want to pass out the memorial. So, Harry. Then I was going to pass this. Well, I'll just they did this. They call it the River Days. The Hullabaloo Festival. So it's actually sponsored by How's it going? Doing well. How are you? So who knows?
My wife's on stage and
You good for me to start? I know it's 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right, where do we want to go?
We'll clip that right there on your lanyard. And if you
right.
want to hold that, I don't think you have, or there's a clip if you want to clip it off.
Yeah, I can. All right.
Now you flip.
All right. All right. Let's call the Rotary Club of Florence, serving all Boone County, to order. Welcome to our Monday regular meeting. Neville, if I can call you, wait a minute, I'm all hooked up here. I'm all hooked up here. There we go. Well, the problem is my work badge. There we go. All right, Neville is going to do the prayer pledge and four-way test for us. If I can pull.
Would you pray with me? Father, we thank you so much for today. We thank you for spring coming up and the new life and the ability to see growth all around us. We pray, Father, as we see this and observe this, that we would renew our commitment to service above self and growing our local Rotary Club. We thank you, Father, for all the good that's able to do in our community and humanity and throughout the world. Father, we pray that you bless this food to our bodies that we have at this moment, and that we'd use this energy from this food to further your kingdom. It's through your Son, our Savior, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen. Amen. Would you say the pledge with me? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And then if you'll recite with me the four-way test of the things we think, say, and do. First, second, third, and fourth.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may be seated.
All right, Sean. All right, I will hand these over to you.
Is it Paula?
Yes.
We have a visitor today. She's back with us. We recognize Paula McPeak. Paula, you want to stand and tell us what's going on with you?
Enjoying Rotary and the friends here and just loving it and just looking forward to summer.
Great.
Nice to be here.
There you go. Welcome, Paula. We would like to, so my father-in-law, Paw Phil, as he's known, is 88 years old, and we play golf on Friday afternoons when he's available. My oldest grandson is named Philip Joseph after Paw Phil. So, of course, we have two Phils. And that was a pretty good horse in the Derby, but it wasn't good enough. And that's the way the weekend went. We did between the rain and all those things, but that's the way it went. So that's how scientific I am at betting on the horses. So this week we have, I won't talk about the Reds game yesterday. I heard they had a home run derby. So that went well. And then we have the New York Mets coming to town. So we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much it for the warm-up today. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Sean. So for announcements, I want to let you know that the dues invoices will be mailed out this weekend. So look for them in your mailbox. We do snail mail them, just to let you know. On your table, you have information about the Rotary Youth Exchange. Let me pull that out here. They are looking for both short-term and long-term host families. So there is information on your table for that. We also have information on your table about the youth leadership retreat. Our club has decided this year to sponsor up to 2 8th grade students who would like to go to our district's youth leadership retreat. Those applications will be going out in January, so look for more information about that. And then Dwayne, you had a couple of things you wanted to bring up for the club. I'll give you this part. And that part.
Can everybody hear me? Is that good? Last week when Secretary Adams spoke, it was one of my proudest moments to be a Rotarian. And he brought up something that I never really thought about. Rotary's the glue that holds society together. And he says, we are divided today. And I thought it was so appropriate. So we got to build membership. So whatever we got to do to build membership, A couple things. We were very fortunate. Party Town donated 2 bottles of Pappy Van Winkle at the dinner the other night at Triple Crown. We got $1,200 for it. So if everybody could just sign a little thank you note. And if you're in there buying any party supplies, the owner of the store is named Drew. And just say, hey, Drew, we appreciate it.
I have a pin to go around with.
Okay, all right, good. The Florence Memorial Day Parade is coming up May the 29th. And I just noticed I put a big typo in here. But if you don't mind, please, if you want to get in the parade, if you want to put a car in it, please let me know. And if you got any kids or anybody that wants to walk in the parade, and we also need 2 people to raise the Rotary flag. And it's such an honor to raise that Rotary flag. You have the State of Kentucky Honor Guard, you have the Boone County Honor Guard, you have the City of Florence Honor Guard, then we get to raise our flag. So I'm going to pass this around and apologize for the typo there. If anybody wants to sign up. Then June the 24th is Margaritaville for the Florence Rotary at the Florence Yalls. And this is just a social event to bring everybody together. I'm going to invite the other clubs, Covington and Erlanger Ellesmere. So if I'm give you another flyer here for your record. Then I will be sending out a link that'll have you a chance to buy tickets. We get the group rates, they're $8. And one of the things I'm working on is trying to put together a signature event. When I was down in Florida, they have this, it's called River Days and Craft Brew Hullabaloo. And it's the River Park in Sebastian, Florida. And it's a sponsorship with their Rotary there. They make $300,000 out of this event. And I don't know if we could put something together like that. Maybe we can call it the Sean Carroll Hullabaloo. And I don't know if anybody will show up for it, but I think it would be a great event. So if anybody's got any ideas for a signature event, please let me know. Carrie, thank you.
Thank you.
So we gonna put a car for
One, yes.
I don't have any vehicle that works.
Well, get one of your tractors out, Pat. Let's put a tractor in. Yeah, tractor or wagon, how about that? We throw all kids in the back.
All right. Moving on with announcements. As Dwayne mentioned, we are trying to grow our club. So invite your friends, invite your family. We have some great programs, past, present, future. We do have the Help Wanted sign out. We are looking for both a treasurer. Ian will be stepping up in July to president-elect. So we need someone to take his place as treasurer. And then we are also looking for a secretary to replace Brad. So if you have any questions, let me, let Ian, let Brad know. We are looking for a new treasurer and secretary. Save the dates. Let me get them in order. So club service morning at the Miracle League Fields. We will hear a little bit more about this opportunity coming up. That's this Saturday on May 13th. We have the Dick Wilkinson Clay Shoot on Saturday, June 10th. The Florence Yalls game, as Dwayne just told us, is on June 24th. Come out and have fun with that. And then we have the golf outing to look forward to in October. And then we have the Rotary District Foundation dinner is at the Hive on Saturday, June 10th from 6 p.m. to 8:30. There should have been an email that you guys received. If you have not, let us know. We'll make sure you get the information. I attended it last year. It was a really good meeting and a good time to learn what's going around, what's happening in the district-wide foundation. Don't forget, help us plan for our meetings to RSVP for each meeting. If you follow the link or scan the QR code that is on your table, you can sign up for at least 4 meetings in advance so that it'll help us plan. Sean and Dawn have anniversaries this week, so 31 and 15 years respectively. Congratulations. So yay. Don't forget to connect your Kroger Plus card to the Kroger Community Rewards for Florence Rotary. That's very important to help us raise money. And then we want to send out a thank you to Gary and Janie for working the Maker Expo this weekend. They worked the Florence Rotary table for us. So thank you guys for doing that. I know, there you are. Happy Dollars. For those of you who don't know what this is, if you have something personal, professional that you want to give a shout out about, you pay Ian $1 and then you tell us what the happy news is. Do we have any happy dollars?
I do.
Julie.
Okay, so I already gave Ian my $3.
Ooh.
My daughter Sophia's home from college.
Woohoo.
She finished her first year with a 4.0 average. And she just found out she's 60% done already with her bachelor's. Yeah. So very proud of her, except for the downside that is her dorm room is now in my living room.
But did she have any fun?
Oh my gosh. The second one, I just want to do little shout out to Gary and Jamie for working the Maker Expo. We had almost 2,000 people attend that Maker Expo. It was a huge turnout. So it was a great time to expose people to Rotary that would never.
That was great event. You put that on.
Yeah.
You did a great job.
Yeah. And then the third thing was my son said pre-P art at his track meet on Friday. So.
Nice. Anyone else? Happy dollars? No? All right, maybe next week. All right, Julie, can I call you up to introduce our guest? There you go.
Oops. So I am really thrilled to have Tyler here with us today. He's with the Nuxhall Foundation and the Miracle League Fields. I got connected to Tyler through our good friend Chad Goodell, who he's been around with the club some. He was one of our Teacher of the Year one year, and he's very active in the school. And he's got a huge, big heart. And so when he connected me to Tyler, I just immediately grew very fond of Tyler and the passion that they have. So if you don't know, so the Joe Nuxhall Foundation also has their Miracle League Fields, which Saturday morning we're going to go up as a group. Whoever wants to join, just let me know. And we're going to volunteer. And these are for kids who don't normally get to play in sports and things. And so we can be as loud as we want to. We can bring noisemakers. We can bring posters, whatever. And the kids thoroughly enjoy it, and so do us as volunteers. But Tyler came to the Nuxhall Foundation. He attended Miami University, where he got his Bachelors and Masters. And then are you still working on your doctorate in organizational leadership there? My husband went to Miami, so yeah. And it's just what they're doing up there. It's not only the fields, they also have a adaptive golf course, a mini golf course, and a number of things. So it's just a great great facility and all the work that they do. And Chad just told me about some other things they have coming down the pike. So I'm going to turn it over to Tyler.
All right. Yeah, appreciate it. Thank you. Good to be all and glad to be able to spend some time together. And I survived coming over the bridge thing. Every day it feels a little dicier, right? Up with our Fairfield Club, so it's always good to visit others, continuing to grow and all the good things that are happening. But wanted to really come information about the Miracle League fields and what we're doing, I may just have to restart this presentation. So we really see the Joe Nuxhall Miracle League fields and the Nuxhall Foundation as something that is beyond just Fairfield where we are, but it truly is a Greater Cincinnati tradition, and we know how iconic Joe was throughout all of Reds country, so it's always a good opportunity to talk about that. But I'm sure you all know who Joe is. I'll talk a little bit about him. I'll talk about the Miracle League field, some of the exciting things that we have going on. Ultimately, though, I just want to thank Chad for making this connection. You all have wonderful traditions in Kentucky, bourbon, horse racing, personally for me, the Wildcats, but Chad Cadell, in my opinion, is the greatest thing about the state of Kentucky because he truly loves people in a way that I have not seen in when it comes to service. He is just a tremendous guy. He has been a shot in the arm for our organization in ways that I can't even describe. And I'll share, I was putting this presentation together and I'm like, well, Chad's got his fingerprints on that, all these different things that are good that are happening in our organization are happening because of one of your very own. So I'm just thankful to be able to serve alongside him and do what we do together because it's just more fun when you're doing it with Chad Cadell. So yes, absolutely. I'm always trying to gauge how much of Joe's story I need to tell, and you all likely know the story just as well as anybody. How many of you are Reds fans and willing to admit it? That's good. Okay, all right. Things are a little bit difficult right now, but who knows? They might have to sign a 15-year-old before this thing is all said and done. But as many of you likely know, Joe holds probably a record that is never going to be broken, the fact that he was the youngest Major League Baseball player of all time. He was actually scouted at age 14, and his mom wouldn't let him sign the contract, but something magical apparently happens between 14 and 15. So at 15, she allowed him to do it, and he ends up making his debut with the Reds on June 10th in 1944. In Joe's own words, he pitched 2/3 of an inning. He got the first out, then I think he walked somebody, got the second out, had another walk, and then all hell broke loose. He ended up giving up about 7 runs and then went down into the minors and had about a 7-year career there before coming back and spending 16 years with the Reds and had a really decent career with the Reds. He had one season where he played outside of Cincinnati. He played with Kansas City, but the majority of his career right here in Cincinnati and a 2-time All-Star selection as well. He was very community-oriented. This is one of my favorite pictures of Joe. This is actually him on Hamilton night down at Crosley Field where he got presented a key to the city. This is a picture of him, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that they were actually playing baseball it was somewhere in South America, and they were able to get this really cool shot off the patio. But Joe was always about more than just baseball. He was about doing good things in the community. But after he played baseball, he immediately jumped into the broadcast booth. And I don't know if many of you know this story. The reason he jumped so quickly into the broadcast booth, he was at spring training getting ready to play, and he got word that the Reds were actually going to be trading him. And he went into the front office and said, I'm not willing to leave the city of Cincinnati. So if you guys are going to trade me, I'm just going to do something else. And the team said, well, how about broadcasting? And he jumped in, got some experience up at Miami University, and actually called some basketball games up there, got the experience. He broadcasted for 39 years. And I'm sure many of you, like I do, have fond memories of those broadcasts. Many of you might know, some of you might not. The guy there on the left-hand side, Al Michaels, who actually got his start here in Cincinnati with the Reds. And this picture always cracks me up just to show how times have changed. The fact that Joe's got an ashtray like right there in front of him when he's announcing, which would never happen anymore. But then the duo that we're all probably most fond of is Marty and Joe, who became Cincinnati icons for 31 years, broadcasting games up in the Red seats at Riverfront Stadium. And Marty and Joe were about more than just calling a baseball game, but they became family to all of us. And that's one of the things we still hear stories. And to see Marty, who attends many of our events, to see Marty interact with people and hear new things about the partnership and what it meant to folks throughout Reds country is just a real blessing to know that these two are the best who ever called the game and will be for a long time. But think about this, 60 years essentially with one team that Joe spent. That's not going to happen in Major League Baseball nowadays. That's not even going to happen with broadcasters. Most broadcasters now run their course of maybe, 8, 9 years with a team, and then they're moving on or doing something different. So truly just a spectacular and remarkable career. Joe reluctantly retired in the early 2000s, but he never gave it up. He was still calling about 50 games a year. But then in 2007, sadly, Joe passes. I was a student at Miami University. I remember waking up that morning and hearing it as my alarm clock came on 700. And it was this feeling that truly I had lost a member of my family. And I think everybody in Reds country felt that way. And to see the outpouring of support that was shown to Joe by the Reds, by the entire city, and especially to the Nuxhall family, it's just been a blessing. And there's so many legacy projects living on, and that's why I'm here. This is a beautiful mural that was done in Hamilton on the backside of a sporting goods store downtown that you see as you drive across the bridge. But I want to talk about what has grown out of Joe's legacy and the things that have happened. Because there's lots of good things going on. So Joe had 2 sons, Phil and Kim. This is his son, Kim. Yes, a son named Kim. And he was a physical ed teacher. He taught elementary school, and he liked to say that he did more than just teach phys ed. He really viewed himself as a character educator. So you'll notice these character traits that he had painted in the gym and things like that. So together, Joe and Kim started the Character Education Fund, which did lots of programming throughout Cincinnati, underwriting programs in local schools. Joe's baby, though, truly was a golf outing. He started a golf outing back in the 80s, where he would have current members of the team come out and play, lots of other folks. And we are actually, this summer, will be in year 38 of this golf outing. Primarily, it raises money for the Joe Nuxhall Memorial Scholarship. So we fund about $30,000 in scholarships every year with this program. And in 2 years, we will actually cross the mark of having handed out over $1 million in scholarship money, which we're super proud of, especially for a guy who never went to college. That's not a bad start, the fact that he was able to inspire others in his community to do that. So at the foundation, we're managing those things, of course, managing lots of legacy projects. But the centerpiece of everything that we truly do is the Joe Nuxhall Miracle League fields. How many of you played baseball? Just out of curiosity, you played baseball growing up? Okay, I played baseball, and I was the bad kid on the baseball. I was the bad kid on the t-ball team. I can't even say baseball at this point. Like, my parents would buy buttons of like other people's kids when you had photo day because they didn't want to be associated with it. And that's how I got involved in all of this. I loved sports. But I wasn't going to be able to play competitively. That was pretty apparent early on. So I got into broadcasting, and I did some broadcasting stuff growing up. There was a team started in Hamilton called the Hamilton Joes, named after Joe Nuxhall. I got to know the Nuxhall family and then had the opportunity to come on board as their executive director a little bit later. But my first introduction to everything happening was through the Joe Nuxhall Miracle League fields. I went out. Kim Nuxhall asked me to MC a charity softball game. It was going to be members of the community, local celebrities, and some special needs athletes. And I go out to this field at Harbin Park. It's a regular baseball field, but not very well funded, not very well taken care of. And I go out, and I'm just having fun emceeing this event. And afterwards, I sit down, and I'm kind of off to myself, and I'm truly just in tears because of what I witnessed. There's individuals in wheelchairs and walkers on this dirt field playing the game of baseball, all different ages. And Kim Nuxhall, the way he does with so many people, he comes up and he just puts his arm around me. And I said, Kim, I'm ashamed because clearly this has been happening in my community for years, but I had no idea that it was happening. And I just never thought about what individuals with special needs might do from a recreational experience, from a belonging experience. And we shared that and we talked about it. And then he said, if you think this was great, in about a year, we're working on a facility right down the street that's going to be home for these special needs athletes. It's going to be their spot. It's going to be safe. The families aren't going to have to worry about the challenges that come along with playing on this dirt field or playing on a field that's not well manufactured or not tailored to their needs. And sure enough, that dream came true back in 2012. So Chad has given our facility this moniker of the Joy Factory. And I don't think anything describes what we do better than that, because this place truly manufactures joy. And when you come out this weekend, if you are making the trip, you'll see this up close and personal. You don't have to be out on the field participating, just to sit, watch, and experience what these families are doing at our facility. It's a life-changing experience. But we have a pretty simple belief. You're going to hear me say this mantra all the time. We firmly believe that we give every player with every challenge every chance to play the game of baseball. That's our motto. That's what we do. We want to remove all the barriers. We want the word can't to be removed from the dictionary for our families. So really what that means when it comes down to every player, it's not just kids. Our youngest player is age 4, and I actually forgot to update this slide. Our oldest player is 79, Freddie Hoover, who I got to see last year hit a stand-up triple. There are few things better in this world than seeing a 79-year-old man hit a stand-up triple, and he's pumping his fist the whole way that he's running the bases. It is all different ability levels, all different from instructional play to competitive play. We keep score. We call plays at the plate with some of our adult league players, things like that. So we try to really make sure that whatever the challenge is, we are allowing individuals to have that opportunity. And when I say every challenge, we're talking developmental disabilities, intellectual disabilities, physical and mobility disabilities. This is one of our players, Irvin Meadows. This is an amazing story. Irvin actually had sight at one point in his life. He lived down south. He had some really strange infection that resulted from a mosquito bite and lost his vision. So he is now entirely blind. It started in one eye, then went to the other eye. Irvin actually uses a device that's called a beep ball. It is a softball. It's about the size of a grapefruit. And if you've never seen one of these things in action, it is unbelievable. It essentially, think of like sonar detection, but it allows the pitcher to throw this. And when it's released from the pitcher's hand, the noise changes. So the player knows the ball is essentially live at that point, and Irvin can make contact with this ball and hit it. We have a big event every year called the Nuxie Bash. It's like a celebrity softball game. And one of my favorite moments is when Irvin comes out. I have to quiet this crowd of probably around 1,000 people and say, okay, everybody, we got to get real quiet because Irvin's going to make contact. And the noise that erupts from that place when Irvin makes contacts with the ball is like nothing you've ever seen. But like I said, it's lots of mobility issues. We've seen a rise in players that identify with autism or that are struggling with some of the challenges with that. So we're trying to meet their needs as well. And when we say every chance, we are not just about baseball. We have added a mini golf course. You heard Julie talk about that. We've added bocce ball, accessible playground equipment. But more than anything, it's not just about baseball. It's about that sense of belonging. You all, if you played youth sports or if you play sports now, you understand that it wasn't about the stats. It wasn't about, thank God it wasn't about the stats for me. It wasn't about the numbers you put up, right? It was about having that sense of belonging. That sense that you had friendship, that sense that you had a community beyond your family, right? That sense of purpose. And that's what we try to imbue in every player who comes out to the fields. It is one thing to hear about this place, but it's another thing to see it. So I've actually got a video that I'm going to show you all, and I want to give you some context on what happened. We are constantly, thanks to Chad and our leadership, we are thinking of new ways, new opportunities to serve our players and families. And one of our biggest supporters is Sean Casey. Many of you remember the mayor. He's just a lifelong Red that I'll always cherish. But Sean actually built one of these Miracle League facilities in his hometown outside of Pittsburgh as well. And Kim Nuxhall and Sean Casey got together, and good things always happen when the two of them get together. And they said, you know, how cool would it be for our players to have the opportunity to go on the road and experience a road game? So we said, let's make it happen. So last summer, we actually got to celebrate what we're calling our first Miracle Series game. Sean brought about 30 of his athletes over from Pittsburgh, and we hosted them for a game at our facility. And we've got this amazing video that we put together that I think will show you the facility, show you the impact that it makes. So I'll play the video, and then I'll give you some more context about what we're doing with the Miracle Series here in a little bit. Thank you.
Sean's not going to like this because he wants it to be all about the kids, and I do too. But it is more than appropriate to share with you why we're here. 20 years ago, this young guy from Cleveland gets traded, opening day, to the Reds. And I remember telling my dad, Sean Casey is something like I've never seen. I asked my dad, I said, do you think Sean would come to a character assembly? I don't want to talk about baseball. I want to talk about hard work, respect, responsibility, caring, compassion. Dad says, writing a letter. So I did. Wrote a letter, typed up a letter Sunday morning before a Reds game. Dad said, I'll hand it to him. Reds game's over. An hour later, Sean Casey's on the phone. Hey, brother, that's awesome. Yeah, I'll be there. What do you need me there? So I mentioned a few years ago how cool it would be to have a road trip for his All-Stars and ours. As you can see, he's all in, brother.
You know, I think one of the things that we've realized is that it's going way beyond our dreams and what the impact in the community that we have. And this is just such an example of what these fields and these kids, and families, and just what it means to so many different people.
Please let me make something beautiful. Thing that reminds us there's good in the world. Thing that reminds us there's still something out there we're fighting for. 'Cause it feels like the world is going crazy. Spinning faster, cheaper than ever before.
Sean's players have never before traveled to compete in the Nuxhall League, has never before hosted an outside organization at these fields. The world is a better place because of men like Sean Casey and Kim Nuxhall.
Sean said to me the other day, you cannot have a bad day when you are around these special athletes.
It has been a magical day for us, but we are so grateful for that entrance you gave us off the bus. We will never, ever forget this. And I just want to say, we're going to reciprocate this next year. We're going to do it in Pittsburgh. Come join us for the weekend. We would love to have you guys.
Please let me make something beautiful. Thing that reminds us there's good in the world.
So now I've made you all cry, hopefully. I tell you, that day, now I'm making myself cry. I've watched this video dozens of times, and there's still that one clip of Levi Packer, who's one of our players. He's in a wheelchair, and they attached a camera to it. And that shot of him going up around the backstop and seeing the joy on his face as people are cheering for him. I sit there and think about the fact that if it weren't for places like this, when in his life would Levi have an opportunity where there's just hundreds of people standing around cheering for him, right? And that sticks with me. It drives what we do every single day, or moments like those. And I had a mom who, so that day is crazy. We're trying to wrangle all these special needs athletes. We got 2 fields. We got games going on. I have this mom from Pittsburgh who comes up to me and she goes, "Can I talk to you for a minute?" And I was like, oh boy, here we go. She's mad that we're serving them Skyline for lunch. We don't have French fries to put on the sandwiches, whatever it is. And she immediately breaks down and just says, I have a couple children that don't have special needs, and I have a few that do. And I never thought opportunities like this would exist for my child that had special needs. And if I had to, I could go out and make these opportunities happen. But the fact that there are organizations and people coming around and just doing this for us is life-changing. And I've never lost sight of that fact, and I've never lost sight of what this means for our players. I think about Friday nights when we have our adult league. What would these individuals be doing if it were not for these opportunities where they're all together? What would our volunteers be doing if it weren't for that opportunity to come out and serve and the joy that they're experiencing? There's lots of things that have changed. So when we opened the facility, just to give you a quick idea, that was about a $3 million facility. $2 million of it was donated in kind, labor, materials, equipment. The trades unions came out in a huge way, and all we did was pay them with Richard's Pizza. If you're ever in Fairfield, we bought pizza every day, and they got free lunch on us, and that was about it. And they're grinding concrete and doing all this stuff that really led to this one-of-a-kind facility. We got the idea a couple years ago, hey, how cool would it be to have a mini golf course for our players? So we started out wanting to build a 9-hole mini golf course, and we had so many people who were excited about it, we were able to build all 18. All of our players are actually honorary members of this mini golf club. They get a putter and a ball that they take home with them. Their parents can bring them back anytime. There's a keypad on the facility. They can pop in, come in. There's lights on a timer. We even have an adaptive putter for individuals in wheelchairs. It's basically a putter that hangs on a pendulum, and they can wheel it up to the ball, rock it there. And we've got a group called May We Help that does some engineering stuff for us. They're working on a remote controlled version of that now, so the individual will be able to sit in a wheelchair and basically manipulate that putter there. But it's a really cool facility. And some of the big things coming up, new things that we're excited about as I wrap up, and then I'll let you all ask me questions. So we are in the midst of executing our strategic plan, which we've called Nuxhall Next Gen, and I've got copies of that up here if you're interested in learning more about what we're doing as a foundation. But really the centerpiece of that strategic plan is the idea that we take big swings for our athletes. We're going to dream big. We're going to try to do the impossible, and we're going to make things like this happen. 10 years ago, nobody would have thought that we'd be able to build a $3 million facility right there just for athletes with special needs. So why not think big? Why not really swing for the fence? And that's what we're trying to do. The biggest swing we've ever taken, though, is what we're in the midst of right now. So we have had this idea for years that our facility is great for about 5 or 6 months out of the year. How awesome would it be to have an indoor facility built just for athletes with special needs, to take us beyond baseball, to take us beyond what we're currently doing? So you are looking at an artist rendering of the Joe Nuxhall Hope Center. So it'll be about a 30,000 square foot indoor facility that will be just there for athletes with special needs. It'll be home to the Butler County Special Olympics. We will actually start a Special Abilities Hall of Fame in this building where we'll induct special needs athletes every single year. There's going to be therapy suites where outside medical providers can come in on site. They can actually offer treatment, but then they can do community programming as well, nutrition classes. They can do fitness classes, all kinds of things in there. We're doing all kinds of stuff that makes the insurance companies real nervous, which I love. We're working on a wheelchair zip line right now that'll be low grade to the ground. It's funny when the first time we told the insurance counter board, and he's like, we want to do what? And I was like, yeah, I know. We'll pay for the insurance. It'll be fine. Yeah. We're going to have lots to drink on the day we open this. We'll have fully operational concession stands in there, and the goal is to start a workforce development program that members of the special needs community will work in that concession stand and throughout the building. We'll also have the Nuxhall archives in there as well. We have all of Joe's memorabilia, his World Series rings from the time he was a broadcaster, signed jerseys, all those things that'll be on display throughout the facility. The good news is we've been doing some silent fundraising on this, and we have raised a little over $1 million already just behind the scenes. That is not counting the fact that the Nuxhall family, Joe's children, actually just gave us a $500,000 matching grant to offer out. The bad news is I need about another $5 or $6 million to make this thing happen. So if you all got any tax return money laying around or whatever, I'm happy to talk to you about that. We'll launch our public campaign. You'll likely see that later in the year. And if you want to learn more about the project, if you go to our website, there's a whole section for the Hope Center. But this is really going to be a life-changing experience, and it drives us towards our vision of becoming the world's most comprehensive campus for athletes with special needs. We want to be the place that when you think, how do we serve the special needs community in new and exciting ways, the Joe Nuxhall Miracle League Fields and the Hope Center are the first thing that come to mind. We just had a really cool opportunity where we took, how many of you have seen the Savannah Bananas online? And I got to thank, again, this guy right here for making it happen. Chad read the Bananas book that just came out and bought all of our board members a copy and said, we need to read this together. And then Chad goes and reaches out to him and says, hey, if we could bring our board down there for a leadership retreat to learn about what you guys are doing, would you make it happen? And they did. So we got to spend an entire day in Savannah. Chad, I should have put the video in here. Chad was the winner of the Dad Bod Dance Squad dance-off on the field ahead of time. And it was amazing. And then the picture I didn't put in there was I actually got a t-shirt toss from Jesse Cole, the owner of the team, in the game. And he told me to open it up, and I realized it was not a t-shirt, but it was Savannah Bananas underwear. So in front of all of our board members, I had to put these on and stand up in the crowd and wave. But we learned so much about dreaming big for our players. The Bananas are doing an amazing thing to the game of baseball by really revolutionizing sports entertainment. We've learned a lot from them that we've brought back even for this season. So that was super exciting. The Miracle Series that you see happening. So the plan was to go to Pittsburgh this summer. We were going to take our athletes over there, and I got a call from my counterpart with Sean's facility. He said, hey, we've got a really unique opportunity. Me, or our organization, Sean's organization, and two others, the Miracle League of Sioux City, Iowa, and Mercer County, New Jersey, we're going to be taking our players down to Pigeon Forge this summer for a tournament at the Cal Ripken Experience, which is this beautiful baseball facility nestled right in the foothills of the Smoky Mountains. So we're going to be taking about 25 athletes down there. There's going to be a huge tournament going on, and one field is going to be set aside for Miracle League athletes, promoting inclusivity in the game of baseball. And then next year, we will actually take about probably 40 to 50 athletes over to Pittsburgh to allow them to get that experience on the road. So there's information, again, about this. As you can imagine, programs like this are expensive. 2 nights in Pigeon Forge for one family at a hotel is about $600. But we're doing lots of fundraising to try to take that off of the families. We just had a great fundraiser out at Topgolf a few nights ago, and lots of people who are contributing to help make that happen. Had a company in Hamilton that donated custom uniforms for all of our players. The Reds are donating helmets and bat bags. So yeah, it's going to be a super exciting thing. Our mascot, which you all got a card, this was really cool. We had this idea of starting a mascot a few years ago, and we said, well, baby kangaroos are called Joeys. That ties into Joe. And we worked with a mascot company and said, we'd like to represent a disability on this mascot. That way our players can identify with it. So I'm going to show you a full picture here. This is Joey, the can-do kangaroo. He actually wears leg braces. The mascot company asked us, do any of your players wear leg braces? We sent them some photos, and then they came back. So one of the other duties as assigned pieces of this job is I end up in this costume every now and then, and which is super fun in the middle of July. And the first day that I'm in this costume, I'm out at the fields, and this little boy named Emerson just runs up to me, just hugs me real tight, and I can't see what's going on. And I hear his mom come up, and she just pats him on the back, and she says, look, Emerson, Joey wears leg braces just like you do. And that was it. I lost it. I'm in tears, and I'm trying to reach up in the suit like to wipe my eyes. But to see the impact that this mascot has made on our players is incredible. And again, Chad Cadell, he calls me one day and says, hey, we ought to have a children's book for Joey. And I said, great, never written a children's book. Dr. Seuss over here just writes one like that night and sends it to me. And then he takes the next step of getting it illustrated, of getting it published. So we actually have a companion children's book called Joey the Can-Do Kangaroo. It's full, like 30-some pages, and it's an amazing book. We're selling it for $10, and I've got copies here. Chad will even sign it for like $30, I think. But if you want to go home with a copy, or you can buy them on our website, I've got some there. This is one of the coolest shots I have in the presentation. This is one of our players, Ethan, who his mom told me he never sits down and reads books, but in the middle of a game when we gave out these books to all of our players, thanks to a donor, Ethan just sat down and that was all he did. And now they can't get the book out of his hands. And now we're starting to do lots of programming with Joey, lots of cool things that are happening. One of the coolest things, Chad actually developed some character education curriculum. We're going out into elementary schools. And again, that's your boy right there in the outfit that day, because everybody had jobs that they couldn't come out and help me that day. But we did these really cool character education assemblies, and you'll see us ramping that up here in the coming years. And then just lastly, a couple more things. Chad is leading this game day experience team that's helping to improve the game day experience for our players. He and his family helped us do these awesome Joe Nuxhall bucket hats, which we gave away to everybody in attendance, and we'll do that with our adult league here coming up. Last week, we did a photo booth with our families, and think about this. A lot of our special needs families, it's a lot for them to just get out the door in the morning. Imagine the challenge of getting a family photo together. So we provided that opportunity, and there's lots of good things on the schedule. and lots of events coming up here as well. We do an opening day parade for our players that the TQL Foundation sponsored. So we just had that a couple weeks ago. Our youth league plays on Saturday mornings, which you all get to see. We have an adult league that plays on Friday nights. And again, lots of other events coming up. We do a Nuxie Bash over the summer, our big Miracle Ball where we honored Teddy Kramer this past year. And then we're going to be honoring Bob Herzog here at this year's event coming up in October. So nothing going on at all at the Nuxhall Foundation. I'm not busy. Chad's not busy. We truly love what we do because we see the impact that it makes, and that's what's so exciting. And we see this as larger than just what we're doing in Fairfield, but we have players who drive from Kentucky and Indiana and from all over just to experience what's happening here. So we hope that you'll help us spread the word. We're looking forward to having you all out to volunteer with us as well, which really just come out and get rowdy. Our players, as you can see from the video, love being able to have people there cheer for them. So it means the world to us. But that's what we're doing at the Nuxhall Foundation. I was pretty close on time, but I ran a little bit over. Happy to answer any questions you have or share additional information if you've got them. Or I've bored you all to tears over the past 30 minutes and put you to sleep. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Kind of I won't say a throwaway line, but it was a quick line.
Yep.
You mentioned a inclusive playground.
Yes. Yeah, we do. So we actually have 2 playgrounds on our facility, and we've added equipment over the years. One of the things we added, it's called an ability whirl. It's basically a merry-go-round that is like flush to the ground. And when we installed this, it was only the 14th one in the entire country that was here. We had to get it shipped over, I believe, from Germany. But it is flush to the ground where a wheelchair can roll into it, and then they lock it in, and it spins around just like a merry-go-round. And talk about insurance companies, this thing gets cooking. Like, you get some kids that can really pedal like that, and you've got these kids in a wheelchair, you can see them like just, it's too much, but we've got that. We have a wheelchair glider as well, so a wheelchair can roll into it and it can rock back and forth just to kind of give them that sensation of movement. One of the things we just added that's really cool, as we've seen an increase in sensory disorders and things of that nature, we added these, they're called sensory panels. It's just these big colorful panels with different shapes and textures that we've noticed our athletes with autism really respond to because they can focus in on that situation. And then we just added a percussion playground, which is basically musical equipment. So there's big xylophones, we have bongo drums, we have these sensory flowers, which are like a steel drum that looks like a flower. And so we're continuing to add those things and have done that for many years. But yeah, every couple years we try to add a new piece of playground equipment. And then we've got other big playground clubhouses with slides and things like that. Yeah. Other questions?
Tyler, will stay around and answer a few afterwards?
Absolutely. I'm happy to talk. And I just want to thank you all for inviting me. And I gave you all information about what we're doing. And if you're coming out on Saturday, we'd love to see you there. It's a ton of fun. There's lots of things going on. Be excited for our players because they love having you out there. And if you can't come this week, you're welcome anytime. Admission is free. So stop out anytime. And thank you again for the invitation. And I do have, I don't know how you all want to give these out because I'm not going to be responsible for making somebody mad, but I do have some prizes here. We have this Joe Nuxhall coffee table book that was done by the Inquirer shortly after Joe's death. We've got a Miracle League blanket and then a Marty and Joe print here that's autographed by Marty. So you all can either do a drawing or a perfect attendance check. I don't know who does that, but yeah, that's there for you all as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wonderful program. Thank you. Let's go for the next one. All right, I want to remind you that next week we are in this building where Senator Schickel will be doing an update of the last legislative session for us. Anything else for the good of the group? No? All right, see you all Saturday. There it is.
Like